Good morning. It's Monday morning. I did not record a vlog this weekend because I was too busy slacking off. So I'm sitting out here. I got my coffee. I thought I would answer a few questions from a video from last week. I think on my last vlog. I'll just answer those questions for today's Vlogtober video. How many times can I say vlog in this beginning? Okay, so the first question comes from Felicia, and she says, I may have missed something, but you said something about a book, so here's my question. Are you doing a new book, or are you speaking of the cute hand lettering book? I am doing a new book. There will be a companion to the lettering book, a doodling book specifically for planners, so it'll have things in it like laundry baskets and soccer balls and pet food. You know, things we might want to doodle in our planners. It'll be coming out sometime next year. I don't know when yet though, because between COVID and wrapping up production on the book, it's hard to know when it'll release. But I'll let you know when I do. Vanessa says, I have a fun question for you. What are your favorite Nick Cage movies? I love him too. Gone in 60 Seconds is my all-time fave, but I like the ones he made with Disney too. It's pretty easy. Face Off. I love Face Off. Face Off is one of those ridiculous movies that just gets better and better the more you watch it. I think I saw it 4 times in the theater when it came out, and to this day, it's one of my favorite movies. A quick second after that would be Con Air. Honestly, I loved him in Mandy. As freaky as Mandy was, he was like full Cage. Julianne asked me, have you ever thought of soliciting help to edit your videos to free up more of your time? Yes, and technically I'm supposed to be teaching my 17-year-old how to do this so that they can work for me, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. She also asked, do you ever feel that taking the time to update your to-do list is taking time away from just getting the thing done? Sometimes I feel that way. Yes and no. It depends on how over the top I'm getting with said to-do list. Am I doing a bunch of like fancy lettering and doodling to update it? Then yeah, I'm probably procrastinating. But if I'm just checking something off or just adding a few more things, I have learned that it is worth it to do that, because especially small details that come up in the middle of a big busy day, my brain loses them really quickly. Writing things down is the only way to guarantee that I will even remember it, let alone get it done. So if you think about it that way, then I would imagine there's a lot less guilt. She also asked me about breaking down big projects. That's going to be its own video coming up soon. Okay, Jessica asked me 2 questions, one of which I feel like is an entire video, but I haven't gotten to it yet. But the quick one is, have you ever heard the mask below the nose is like not wearing a condom? Yeah. And actually, I've seen drawings where it has like the penis hanging out of the underwear. You put your underwear on, but you pull it up, but it's just under the penis. I think that one's really funny. How to decide what to spend your energy on versus reserve it. Okay, so again, this could be a much longer video, but in the quick time, generally speaking, if I am low on energy, I will spend my time on either the things that have to get done like right now, like the things that are time sensitive or that need to get done ASAP, or if I don't have anything like that, then the smaller tasks that I can check a bunch of them off, because that'll make me feel a little bit more productive than doing one big task. Now that means that a lot of the times I'm stuck with one big task on a day when I have a lot of energy, and I don't like that very much, so I'm not saying this is the best setup, but that is often my thought process. But I will likely do a much more expansive video or podcast on this in the near future. Okay, so Jessica Hodges asked me a question. The way that she phrased it was a little confusing. I get the point of the question, so I'm gonna paraphrase. But she wanted to know, if you when you worked outside of the home, how did you explain when you were having like a flare-up or a bad time? She said, she can't just lay down even when blinking is too painful. I feel like I come across as complaining or always, woe is me. Firstly, I didn't have as much pain when I worked at Trader Joe's, when I was still working outside of the home. So I didn't have as many times where I would need to lay down, just because that's like, I didn't have as many at the time, which is part of why I work from home now, is because it's much more conducive to how I'm feeling most of the time. Part of the problem I had towards the end was that the job was a physical job, and I wound up having a couple of times right before I quit where I really did a number on myself and I had to go home. I really don't know the best way to manage that. You know, I remember when I would get migraines and I couldn't function at work because when you work in a grocery store, there's light and noise everywhere. And when you have a migraine, light and noises are just wretched. And so I would have to go home. But especially working in grocery industry, you don't have a lot of paid time off. And you're hourly. So it really like would start to like not only take a toll on me physically and mentally, but also financially. I think it is important to advocate for yourself and to not feel like to recognize that there are reasons why you feel the way that you do, and you're not being a complaining like complainerson, like you are being realistic with how you're feeling. So to be nicer to yourself that way. And then somebody commented on it. Ashley said, I think that happens because we so often are used to explaining ourselves. At some point, I'm going to have to stop asking, can I go home? And just say, I'm in pain. I have to go home. And that's, honestly, some of the best things you could do is to recognize that you are not complaining, and you're not, whether you're putting your employer out or not, like you also have to take care of yourself, because you're no good to anybody else if you're falling apart. I would invite people who work outside the home and have chronic illnesses to respond in the comments below to this particular question, because I don't have a world of experience, and I feel really icky. There's so many birds behind me. I feel really icky trying to give you good advice on this when there are so many ways in which people who have chronic illness and chronic pain and mental illness can be discriminated against, even if they're not supposed to be discriminated against. It happens in practice. And so I want to be real careful with any advice I give. So I would love for people to also share their ideas in the comments. Jessica Hodges also asked if Jesse had lost weight. She said that maybe she just doesn't see him standing up in videos. Honestly, I don't know. Neither of us have really been paying that much attention to it, and most of our doctor's appointments have been telehealth. So it's entirely possible we've both put on weight during this being at home. And like, my kidneys are bigger, so I feel hella more pregnant, but I don't know, but I'll tell him you said so. Carrie had several questions. I'd be interested in knowing how you and Kristen met and started working together. Also, would your PKD affect a new donor kidney? Like, would cysts start growing on it? And is there any movement on the donor situation with COVID things relaxing? Well, the donor situation is moving along. I actually had to send some more blood to my transplant center recently. I have some people in the pipeline getting tested, which is awesome. So it's a slow process. I don't know what's next. As for will PKD affect a donor kidney? No. PKD is genetic. And so any donor kidney would not get cysts on it. And then as for how Kristen and I started working together, way back in planner years when PGW was new, I posted some pictures using like lettering and doodling in my planner from and this was, not to sound like a hipster, but this was before that had really exploded on the internet. And I doodled the puking emoji, having to do with inventory or something at work. Kristen saw that, loved it, and wanted to have me doodle for her like a few things, and it just sort of spiraled from there. She really liked my style. I really love her stickers and her color palettes. We both really love each other, and we work really well together, so it has been a very nice partnership to be a part of. Like, if you've ever freelanced before, then you know how valuable a good working relationship with a client can be in terms of communication and how they tell you what they want and revisions, all that stuff. And I will tell you that working with Kristen has been probably the most pleasurable experience I have had as a freelancer. She and I have a really good rapport when it comes to getting stuff done. And I really like her. She's one of my friends. Jane asked, is there any way you can set up a bed desk situation? I know working bed is terrible, but if that's what you have to do. I have worked in bed. I have brought my iPad with me to bed. I have brought my laptop with me to bed. I have brought pens and paper and such to bed. And I've worked from bed. And I've done phone calls from bed. Matter of fact, when I was working on my church board and I was on the finance committee, I spent several finance committee meetings in bed that were done via Zoom. even before the pandemic, because I couldn't anymore. I don't really like it though. When it comes to doing any sort of lettering or drawing, the angle's just bad for me. And usually when I'm in bed, I want to be reclined, and it's a little more difficult for me to work. But yeah, I could if I needed to. I just don't think I would want to set that up to have it be like expected. I will say, should I need to start doing home dialysis, which is what we want to do, I will likely have to set up some sort of working situation from bed, because I will be in bed a lot for dialysis. We bought this house knowing that I might have to go on home dialysis because it has a raised foundation, so we can get underneath and run plumbing from our bedroom bathroom to the side of the bed. And we wanted to do dialysis while I was in bed, because eventually the goal would be to be able to sleep. You can do at-home hemodialysis overnight, but you have to be like kind of trained for it, not just trained in how to do it, but like train your fistula. Normally you use a sharp needle for dialysis to poke into your hole, but for sleeping you have a dull, like a not sharp needle, because it won't come out as easy while you're sleeping. Anyway, all that being said, eventually I will expect to work from bed, but for now I want to try and keep my bedroom as like my relaxing place, because my bedroom and my shower are the two places I go to like chill out, and so bringing a lot of work in there would really stress me out. And then the last question is kind of a fun one from Ebony. She said, watching you prepare food is satisfying because I know what it's like to feed teens. I think preparing and cooking food can take so much longer when you're feeding teens, especially without double ovens. What are your thoughts on that? Dude, so it's funny, like I have 2 teenagers, right? And one of them doesn't eat very much at all. Like, one of them has very specific tastes. I'm talking about Kat. Kat has very specific tastes. Kat is not eating red meat right now. Kat prefers to eat certain kinds of food, and Kat's lactose intolerant. Kat tends to be a little bit more selective with how they eat. RJ, on the other hand, is like the human garbage disposal. He'll go up to like whatever the stuff is on the stove to give himself more servings, because we don't serve food on the table. We prep the plates and bring them to the table. And we'll have to watch him to see how much he's giving himself for a second or third serving, because in case somebody else wants a second serving and he's taken like a mountain of food, it's like, dude, make sure to just take some. You can always go back for more. But yeah, I think one of the hardest things about sharing custody with teenagers is that even if I make a recipe for just Jess and I, knowing it'll have leftovers and we'll have them for lunch, most of the things I make when the kids are here, I either have to make so much to account for RJ, and then the following week when it's just Jess and I, that recipe cooks so much that it's like, even with leftovers, we will be eating it forever, and neither of us want to do that. But even more so than how much cooking it takes, it's just in general how much food costs. To be fair, I live in California, and there are certain things that we buy, like in terms of organic and stuff. We have certain things, like, we're not all organic, but there are certain things we buy that are organic. We're willing to spend more money on that because that's important to us, especially Jessie, for certain things. We could easily spend $300-400 a week on groceries the weeks the kids are here, not even counting, toilet paper and shit like that. So feeding teenagers is it's pricey and it's labor intensive, and making sure that they actually eat things that are good for them as opposed to just chowing down on fucking Pop-Tarts is also can be a bit of a ride. Thankfully, RJ will eat all the fruit in the world if you provide it for him. But like, dude, people warned me about feeding teenagers, and it still did not even begin to touch on the reality of it. Those are my questions that I had from this last video. I know that this was kind of a little off the cuff situation, but it's Vlogtober, and so I'm being tra-la-la with it. If you have any more questions for another video, let me know in the comments below, or if you would like me to expand any more on some of these topics, I'd love to hear it. In general, though, I hope you have a really great day, and tomorrow I will have a fun review up for highlighters, so stay tuned, subscribe, all the things, stay safe, wash your hands, please, please, please vote, wear a mask, all the things, and peace out, my dudes. Peace out.